personally, and I'm probably not the only one, this whole period of Corona, the past number of months, getting closer to a year, I think if there's a couple words that would characterize it, kind of a lack of control, stressful, like just a feeling of we don't really know how to plan things. You know, we don't know what we're going to be doing in the summers. We don't know if we're going to be having normal school or not normal school, what shul's going to be like. If we have a simcha to plan, we don't know what it's going to be like. A lot of just uncertainty and stress. And I'm thinking that in some way it could be this actually ties into the message of Hanukkah. Rav Dessler in Michtav Me'Eliyahu in Chelik Beis, he has a couple pieces on Hanukkah, but the piece I want to focus on now, he discusses the idea that in general, as part of our avodas Hashem, a lot of times we don't necessarily, when we look at things from a rational, realistic perspective, it seems like we don't have control. We're not going to be able to do it. Just for example, the famous Gemara in Eruvin, Machlokes Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, about was it kedai for Hashem to have created man or not, which is a pretty surprising idea that it's like somehow it's not a good idea for Hashem to have created man. And the Gemara's Maskana is even more surprising that it says yes, Beis Hillel eventually they eventually came over to Beis Shammai's side and said yes, it wasn't kedai for Hashem to have created man. And says Rav Dessler, I think based on Rav Yishmael Salanter, what's the Gemara getting at? What it's getting at is that from a rational, realistic perspective, when we're put into this world, we have this unbelievable task of trying to overcome our Yetzer Hara, trying to be able to put aside all these very overwhelming distractions, and trying to create something meaningful and kadosh in the world and in our lives. So from a rational perspective, we're not going to be successful. I mean, we just too many challenges. It's not going to work. But obviously, says Rav Dessler, says Rav Yishmael Salanter, the Gemara doesn't mean, okay, so we should just be pessimistic and nothing's going to work out and we're all going to be failures. The idea of the Gemara is, and this is now Yesod for avodas Hashem in general, our attitude has to be, we are going to try. We're going to try. We don't necessarily have control to make it successful. We don't necessarily have control to know how it's going to turn out. But all we can do is try. And then when we'll be zocha to a certain siyata d'shmaya, Hashem will say, okay, on your own, this task of conquering your Yetzer Hara, of pushing away all these distractions, it's not so realistic. But if I see you're sincere, and if I see you're trying to do it, then I'll help you out and I'll bring you over that mountain. So Rav Dessler says also the whole idea of the war of the Chashmonaim against the Yevanim, that was also insurmountable. That was also not realistic. This band of this mishpacha, the father and some sons, getting together, probably some of their chevra, getting up against this, this world power, it didn't make sense. It was irrational. It could very well be they didn't even expect to really win. But their attitude was, listen, there's a big chilul Hashem. The Beis HaMikdash is in a state of disrepair with avodah zarah. We can't just sit by and do nothing. We'll do what we can. And through that, we'll do what we can, and we're not going to give up. They had this incredible siyata d'shmaya to come back and rebuild and rededicate, and that's why we have the nes and the celebration of Hanukkah. So this message of Hanukkah and this idea of avodas Hashem is, it's not our goal to try to feel like, okay, we know how we're going to be successful. We know how we're going to do it. We have it planned out. We can do it. Our attitude is, listen, Hashem, you realize it's very, very difficult for us, but at least what we can do is to try. And so to tie it back into this tkufa, I feel like this idea that we don't have full control. We don't really know what the future is going to bring. We don't know. We're not the ones who are able to decide and manage everything. Maybe that's a very healthy message for us as Ovdei Hashem. We should realize in life, we're not going to have all the answers. We're not going to be able to always plan and feel like we're the ones who are managing and control and in control, because the reality is that we're not. All we can do is say, Hashem, we don't know what the future is going to bring. We don't know if this is going to work out the way we want it to work out, but we'll try and we'll do our best. And we should all be zoche to the siyata d'shmaya, to be zoche to really do everything lemahadrin mina mahadrin.